12,000 people died, and the government told the world it was only 4,000. 4 or 5 days in December 1952, the city of London became a gas chamber. Not from an enemy attack, not from a natural disaster, from its own air. This is not a theory. This is the forensic record. The date is December 5th, 1952. London is a city that knows fog. For centuries, the thick yellow haze has been part of London life. Writers called it romantic. Tourists called it atmospheric. Londoners called it home. But on this Friday morning, something is different. Something is wrong. An anticyclone has settled over the Thames Valley. Think of it as a lid. A massive invisible lid, pressed down over the entire city. Warm air is locked high above. Cold, stagnant air is pinned to the ground. And trapped inside that cold air is everything London is burning. The soot from millions of coal fires. The sulfur from the factory chimneys of the East End. The exhaust fumes from the new diesel buses on the streets. All of it held in place, going nowhere. By noon, the sun is barely visible. A pale, sickly white disk, hanging low in the sky. By 4 in the afternoon, it is gone completely. What settles over London is not water vapor. It is not ordinary fog. It is a concentrated mixture of sulfur dioxide, carbon particles, and hydrochloric acid. It coats the streets like a yellowish-black paste. It tastes like rotten eggs. It stings the eyes. It burns the back of the throat. People stop on the pavement, unsure where they are. Streets they have walked 1,000 times. Unrecognizable. This is the beginning of the Great Smog of London, a 5-day event that will quietly kill thousands, while the government looks the other way. By Saturday, December 6th, the situation has crossed from dangerous into something that does not have a name yet. Visibility in central London drops to less than 1 foot. Read that again. Less than 1 foot. Public transport shuts down. Ambulances stop running. Drivers abandon their cars in the middle of the road. They get out and walk ahead of their own vehicles, holding flashlights at ground level, trying to find the edge of the curb. At the Sadler's Wells Theater, a performance of La Traviata begins as scheduled. It does not finish. The smog has entered the building. Audience members in the third row cannot see the stage. The performance is stopped. The building is evacuated. But the most disturbing reports are coming from hospitals. The casualty wards are full, then overflowing. Patients arrive blue in the face, gasping, clawing their throats. Nurses describe a sound they will never forget. The sound of entire wards, coughing in rhythm, like a slow, terrible percussion. These patients are not suffering from the flu. Their lungs are being chemically burned by the very air they are breathing. We must now look at the evidence. The Ministry of Health published its official report in 1954. The numbers inside that report are chilling. On a normal December day in London, approximately 250 people die. On December 8th, at the peak of the smog, the death toll reaches 900. In a single day, the morgues are at capacity. Undertakers run out of coffins. Florists across the city run out of flowers. And the government's response? Harold Macmillan, the Minister of Housing at the time, called it a weather event. He suggested the deaths were probably just a bad winter flu season. He recommended patience. The forensic data told a very different story. Medical examiners working through the crisis made notes that would become historical evidence. The victims were not just the elderly. They were not just the sick. Healthy young adults were collapsing in the streets. Children were being brought in by their parents, unable to breathe. The pathology reports from the London hospital described the internal damage in clinical detail. This is a direct excerpt from the Ministry of Health report, 1954. The lungs of a deceased are not merely congested. They show signs of acute chemical bronchitis. The irritation of the bronchial tubes has caused massive secretion of mucus. In many cases, the victims have effectively drowned in their own fluids. This is consistent with the inhalation of high concentrations of sulfurous acid. Sulfurous acid, the moisture inside the lungs, reacting with the sulfur dioxide in the air, producing acid inside the body. Scientists who modeled the event in the 21st century confirmed it. The sulfur levels during those 5 days were high enough. to turn the fluid in human lungs into diluted sulfuric acid. The people of London were breathing battery acid. For 120 hours, the smog finally broke on December 9th. A cold wind from the west swept the toxins east into the North Sea. The air cleared. London could see itself again. But what it saw was not a city that had survived a weather event. It was a city that had been poisoned by its own choices. The public outcry forced the government's hand. Members of Parliament demanded a full inquiry. The Beaverbrook inquiry was launched, and it pointed directly at coal. Here is a detail that needs to sit with you for a moment. The British government had exported its high-quality coal to pay off war debts. The debts from World War II. Londoners, the people who had just survived the Blitz, were left with something called nutty slack, a low-grade, high-sulfur coal that produced enormous amounts of toxic smoke when burned. The domestic hearth, the fireplace in every London home, had become a weapon. Then came the confrontation. From the Hansard Archive, House of Commons, February 1953. A backbench MP rises to speak. His voice is steady. His patience is not. MP, will the minister admit that the death toll was not 4,000? Will he admit that this was a man-made disaster caused by our own energy policies? Government representative, we are studying the reports. It is a complex meteorological event. We cannot say with certainty that coal fires were the sole cause. We must not panic the public by overstating the numbers. MP, the people are not panicked. They are dead. When will this government act to clean the air? That exchange, the people are not panicked. They are dead. That line was recorded verbatim in the parliamentary record. It landed in a chamber that had no good answer. Now we name the victims. We take them out of the statistics. We say their names out loud. Robert Taylor, Alice Benson, Edward Miller, Hannah Wright, Arthur Hughes, Mary O'Donnell, George Stevens, and thousands more, listed in the burial registers only as excess mortality, as if dying above the average somehow made them less real. The confrontation in Parliament changed something. Slowly, reluctantly, but permanently, the Ridley Committee produced its findings. Those findings led to the Clean Air Act of 1956, the first piece of legislation of its kind in the world. It created smoke control areas across the country. It provided financial incentives to switch from coal to gas and electricity. It gave local authorities the power to enforce cleaner air standards. It was the birth of modern environmental law. The 1956 Act became the blueprint for the United States Clean Air Act. It changed how we design cities. It changed how we power our homes. It changed what governments are allowed to ignore. But here is where the story refuses to end cleanly. The official government figure was 4,000 deaths. That number was, in the words of the researchers who studied it later, a deliberate undercount. It included only those who died during the 5 active days of the smog. It ignored the thousands who died in the following weeks from respiratory complications directly caused by the smog. It ignored the long-term damage. Modern forensic epidemiology puts the true death toll at 12,000. 12,000, 3 times what the government admitted. Many children who survived those 5 days developed chronic asthma. For thousands of people, the smog cough never fully went away. It became a lifetime condition, a permanent reminder, carried in the lungs. Of 5 days in December, a researcher from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine walked the rows of a South London cemetery. She was comparing names on the gravestones to the burial registers from 1952. The dates on the stones were almost identical. Dozens of graves, all from the same week. A whole neighborhood, gone at once, recorded only as a statistical spike. She said something that stayed in the record. She said, "The data does not lie, but the data alone does not grieve. The graves do." The Great Smog of London was not a natural disaster. It was a failure of urban planning, a failure of industrial oversight, a failure of political will, and a failure of honesty. The air is a shared resource. It belongs to no company, no government, no industry. It belongs to the people who breathe it. If you walk through London today, find an older building near the river. Look at the stone. You can still see the black stain of the soot, deep in the grain of the rock. not washed away by 70 years of rain. Still there, a physical shadow of the 5 days London forgot how to breathe. We slow our pace for the final memorial. For Robert, for Alice, for Edward, for Hannah, for Arthur, for Mary, for George, and for the thousands whose names are only in the registers, who were counted as numbers when they should have been counted as people. The clean air we breathe today is their inheritance to us. We did not earn it. They paid for it. The records of 1952 are archived. The inquiry is complete. The lesson is written in the soot. Do not forget the 5 days. Do not forget the yellow haze. Do not forget the 12,000.